Madam Seema Chauhan from SEBIS, my dear colleagues from the IT department, Dr. Vrinder Singh, HOD, students of the MSc IT and BCA final. As you are aware of, IT is not only present, also the future of our country. And particularly our management has been focusing on the technologies very keenly over the last decade. And we are having a great ambitions that in future also the department will continue to have a cutting edge in technology area. It is indeed a great feeling that recently when surveys of India Today was conducted, our department was ranked #1, not only in this city, rather in entire North India except NCR. I know NCR is having its own dynamics. So keeping the mind the constant colleges and facility and grants given by the government to them, it is understandable that why they are having a better position. But I always believe that more than the grant, it is the enthusiasm, it is the spirit of the teacher and student which matter. And IT department, I know with such type of the learned faculty and their openness of mind with which they are requesting the different persons from the industry to interact with students, they will be in a position to improve their present position in future also. I congratulate the organizing team for such excellent endeavor, and I will request Madam Seema Chauhan to deliberate the student, make it more interactive, and continuing guiding our students in future also. Naturally, we may be strong in theoretical aspect of the IT stream, but knowledge of the practitioner, of the persons from the industry matters a lot. So hopefully the students will be getting a lot from them. Thanks a lot to all of you for this program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words and motivating our students. Now I would like to invite Ms. Seema Chauhan to start the workshop formally. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Very good morning to respected Principal Dr. Ajay Sharma, Head of Department of IT, Mr. Dr. Virender Sharma and Virender Singh, and honorable coordinators and teachers and dear students. First of all, I would like to thank to everyone as you invited me for such a great opportunity to show my skills and share my experience with you. I would like to share my experience in latest technology, which is most demanded in IT company. As if you listen about that is a mean stack and MERN stack and full stack. We have a great opportunity to start your career in IT company, and it's the most demanded in all IT sectors, and it's a very good salary package with this technology. So let's introduce to myself. My name is Seema Chauhan, working as a full stack developer in SEBIS Infotech. I have done Master in Computer Application from Lovely Professional University in 2015, and after my completion of Master in Computer Application, I am working with SEBIS Infotech. I have done a lot of certification like in Oracle, in Angular, and now I have done certification in MainStack. So I'm working as now full stack developer in SEBIS Infotech. I have expertise in other different technologies like as a Python and Python plus Django, and also pursuing certification in AWS. So let's start this session in which we are start working on MainStack. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible to everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. So So first of all, what is a mean stack and why we use a mean stack? What is a mean stack, what is a merge stack, and what is a full stack, and what are the difference between these type of the technologies? So first we will discuss mean stack development. Mean stands for MongoDB, Express, Angular, Node, and after four key technologies that make up the stack. Here, me define as me document database. We are using a Mongo database as a in backend. When we want to store any record, any information from any website or application, then we use any database. We can integrate any database, like as we have a lot of databases, Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server, and MongoDB, NoSQL. So we can integrate any database with Express.js, any framework, any Node.js, and here we are using MongoDB. Express.js is a Node.js web framework, and Angular stands for that is a client JavaScript framework. Node.js is a primary JavaScript web server. It is a server-side environment where we can run our application, and here we can use if we want to integrate any functionality of the Express.js, Node.js, MongoDB, and AngularJS, then we have to use Node.js, and first we have to install Node.js in our system. If you want to speed up the process, if you want to execute, if you want to implement any website, any web applications, mobile application, and you want to speed up fast, then main stack and merge stack and full stack is the best choice for the developers, because in these technologies we use everything like is a front end to back end in one technology. In front end, we are...
Sorry to interrupt you, ma'am. Can you please make your presentation on full screen mode? It would be visible to students.
Pardon?
Full screen mode, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Just 1 minute.
Thank you.
It's visible to everyone?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Now it's okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Right. So let's continue. So in mean stack, we are using all technologies. That is, we are working with a front end to back end in one technology. In front end, we are using here AngularJS. Now, first, I will let you know that what are the differences between mean or merge stack or a different type of the another language. That is, if you know about the PHP, .NET, and Java. Why mean stack or merge stack is the most popular in the market? Because when suppose if first thing is that it's when we write a code using mean stack or merge stack, then our application or website is much faster. How it is faster? Because when we write a code using, suppose we are working with a PHP or any another if you have worked with the Java and .NET. So in Java and .NET or like any another programming language like as a PHP, first when we write a code in any text editor like as a Notepad, Visual Studio Code, and any other text editor. So first we write a code, and when we want to see the output, then first we need to start the server and we execute the statement. We execute the application or website, then we can see output on that screen. But when we have done any changes in backend like as a PHP or Java or any different technologies, so it's not updated side by side on the front end. But when we use mean stack, like as if we work with the Angular or React, when we write anything on the like as in text editor in the code mode, then when you have updated something, it automatically when you save the application, when you save the code, it automatically update the content, update the information on the website. There is a we do not need to refresh the page, we do not need to execute the application again, and we do not refresh the content to see the output. It automatically update the content as you will update in the code mode, right? So in mean stack, in front end, what we are using in another technologies like in .NET and Java, you are using HTML as a front end. When you want to see any output on the screen, So to see the output on the screen, you use HTML as a front end there, and database, any database like is a MySQL, SQL Server, or Oracle, you can integrate anything. And here we are using MongoDB as a document database. Here we want to store any information, any record in the database, then we prefer to use MongoDB. And so Angular is a front end here. As a HTML, we are using front end in different technologies. Here we are using Angular is a front end. Now, if you want to learn Angular, if you want to learn mean stack, so first is that what is Angular? Angular is a client-side JavaScript framework. Why say that JavaScript framework? So first, what you have to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And in JavaScript, first you have a good command with the advanced JavaScript. If you have a good skills in advanced JavaScript, then you can easily work with Angular, easily work with the Node, and easily you can understand the concept of the React.js. You will not face any type of the problem and syntax with the Angular, Node, Express, or any like as a React.js. So you have to first learn and first focus on the JavaScript. What is a mean stack? Mean stack is a full stack JavaScript framework that proves to be helping hand in application and web development. Using mean stack, we can create any website application, website development. We can create any type of the website and single page application, and also we can create that is a web application. And in advanced level, when we will go with the Ionic framework, then we can also create a mobile application with it, right? So to create an entire project, what we need, what we have to install, what we have required to execute any project, and when we want to create any project or application, first what we have to do. So we have to do what first, we have to install Node.js on your system. And after Node.js, because when you will install Node.js, then you can execute command line statement, because it's a mean stack, merge stack, and full stack. Also, all technologies work in the command line, right? So first, what we have to do to install Node.js, how we can install Node.js? Let I show you. You will go Node.js org website. You have to visit here. You can see nodejs.org. It's a professional website for the Node.js where you can download latest version of the Node according to your operating system. If you are using a Mac, Linux, and Windows, if you have a different operating system, so according to your requirement and according to your operating system, you can install it. So first, we will install, as we are using Windows, so that is recommended for most users. First, we will not work with the 16.9 current versions. We will use that in previous version. How we can install it? First, I have downloaded it. In simply, you will install on your system. Now I have already installed Node.js on my system, as I am working with this technology. So I have already installed like is Express.js, MongoDB, Node.js, and everything here. So I cannot install it again, but I let you know that how we can install it and how we can use it. Simply what you have to do, when you will click on the Node.js setup, you will get an option to click on the next. You will get an option to where you want to install it, like the C or D drive. If you want to set up any drive, then you can choose. Simply as we will use another software, another like as a we installer like as a text editor, so automatically we do not need to any configuration here. We will just click on the next, and after that it will start the installation, and in last it will show you that is a finish, right? So you will click on the finish. When it's completely, now how we can check it's completely installed on your system or not, right? So I already told you that Node.js technologies which work with the command line. So which type of the editor we can use for command line? So first we know command prompt. Open command prompt, and first I have installed Node.js. So I want to check which type Node.js is installed and which version is installed. Node.js is installed or not on my system. So first I need to check what I have to write a command here to check node version. We will write node and version, right? So it will show that which type of the version is used on your system. If suppose it if not showing anything, or it sometime it show an internal or external command error here, so means Node.js is not installed on your system. So first, if you want to work with this technology, first thing you have to install Node.js properly, right? So I have checked node version, and node version, how we can check using node command. We will write a node and -v. V means we are checking the version of the node, right? Now node version is installed on my system. After that, first, now if where we will write the code for the Angular, where for the Node.js, for Express.js, which type of the editor we will use to run application, or what we have to do. Now, next is a text editor. Text editor is Visual Studio Code. Also, you have to install Visual Studio Code on your system, because what is the benefit this editor? In this editor, we can use both things in same window. Like as if we want to write a code, and if suppose if we are using different type of editor, like as I talk about Sublime Text. I'm using Sublime Text. In Sublime Text, suppose I'm writing code here, right? I can write any type of a code, like I can write HTML code, I can write Node.js code, Express.js code, Angular content here. But when I have written the code here, how I can execute my code? Because Node.js, to execute any, if we want to see any output on the screen, then we have to execute a server, we have to execute the file. On this editor, in Sublime Text, Notepad++, or various type of the editors, we have a no command prompt. So we cannot execute command, we can not execute any file from here. So if we are using Sublime Text, I will write suppose code here, and if we want to see the output on the screen, I have to start command prompt, and in command prompt here I will execute any command to run the server and to execute the file. Means we have to work on two different platform. First is a Sublime Text, and second is to run the application. We will use a command prompt. So to solve this problem, we will use Visual Studio Code. So what is a Visual Studio Code? First, you have to install, download for Windows, and according to your operating system, you can install it, like as if you are using Mac, Windows and Linux. So according to that, you can download it. I have already installed it. So let I show you how it will display. So it's a Visual Studio Code. It's a window, it's a screen for the Visual Studio Code. We will click on the file, and we can open any type of the file. If we want to open folder, then we can open the folder. So like I'm working with any application or website, so we have to open the folder, then we click on the folder, and first thing we will write, suppose I am click on the new file, I will write a code here, and where I can execute. In here, we can see there is a terminal. So we click on the terminal and new terminal. So it will split the window in two parts. In first part, in above parts, we can write any code. Like if you write an Angular, Node, Express, any type of the code we can write here. And when we want to execute the command, when we want to run the application, when we want to execute any file, we want to see any output, so we can execute a file here. We can run command here in this terminal. We can also open multiple terminal here. Suppose if we have a multiple statements, if we want to multiple server, then we can use multiple terminals here. We can open one time, right? So how it will use? So first, let's start on main stack again. To create an entire project, first install Node.js. So we have already installed a Node.js on my system. Now how we can start? First is a framework, like is a AngularJS. It's not AngularJS in latest, we say Angular only. So what is a Angular and how we can install it on my system and how it execute? What is a Angular? Angular is a framework of JavaScript used to build web and mobile application. We can create any website development. We can create any type of the website, like if we want to create any restaurant website, dynamic website, any shopping website, we can create it easily. If we want to create any single page application and mobile application, web application, then Angular is helpful for us. Angular is client-side TypeScript based structure, which is used to create dynamic web applications. Angular actually is the same and mostly content used as a TypeScript. If you know advanced JavaScript, then there is no need to learn that is TypeScript. But you have no knowledge of the JavaScript, then first you need to learn TypeScript. First version was released by Google in 2010. Angular was released in 2010 by Google and named as AngularJS. First, when it was released, its name was AngularJS, but AngularJS was not very fast and useful for the web application or web development. So it was again Google rewrite the code again, and after updation and in previously Angular based on the controller system, and as Google checked that it's not faster rather than another technologies like as the React.js. So Angular updated version of Angular 2 is in 2016. It is built and backed by Google and has been developed over the years, fully platform and integrated with the latest libraries and installed with various type of the packages. Like we can integrate different type of libraries, like if we want to use jQuery, if we want to use a Bootstrap framework here for designing and another material UI libraries, we can easily integrate with updated Angular for front-end web development, right? After Angular 12. Angular 12 is the JavaScript latest version nowadays, and also is help to create a single page application. Most benefit is that single page application. We can create SPA application using Angular or main stack, right? So what is a single page application? Angular requires working knowledge of JavaScript, HTML, CSS. If you want to, I already told you that if you want to learn main stack, you should learn JavaScript, HTML, CSS. Now, what is a single page application? Single page application is a web application that fits on a single page. Means when you will execute any application, when you execute any website, all your code, JS, HTML, CSS drive with a single page load, and navigation between pages performed without refreshing the whole page. What it means, you can see. Here's the example. When we click on the home page, it loading the home page content. When click on blog page, it loading the blog page content. When click on about page, it loading the about page content. But when we click on home page, it's not refreshing the whole website, not refreshing the whole page. We can check without refreshing the whole page. It's showing the content which we click on the navigation, right? If we will see another example, Gmail. We all use the Gmail. Gmail would be a perfect example of SPA application or SPA website, because in Gmail, when we load all in Gmail window, then if we want to write a compose, if we want to write any message, then it not load a complete or whole page. It shows that is a dialog boxes to write any email, and we can send and inbox spam and everything we can check. So here we do not reload the page, but that is it load on the certain part of the page which we need, right? So due to this SPA application without refreshing the whole page, always website pages and application is much faster, right? So first, let's see how we can install Angular and how we can execute any application on your system. What we have to install: first of all, create any folder where you want to execute your application. I have created a folder main in local disk E drive and open this folder here. Now main folder is open here, but there is a nothing in main folder. So we will click on terminal, new terminal, and using this terminal we can install Angular here. So first, to execute any Angular application, we need to install Angular CLI. So what is the Angular CLI? To install Angular CLI, we will use this command npm install -g. -g means globally installed, and that is the Angular CLI. We will copy this command and execute here. First of all, we install it. Now, what is the Angular CLI and why we used here? Because using Angular CLI, there is a lot of packages and library already installed using this, and we can use these libraries and packages in our application. Means sometime we want to use any library or any functionalities or packages, so we have to need to install like suppose we want to use some another packages, so we can use these packages or applications from here. So what it will do, it will install all libraries and packages which need to execute an Angular application. So first we have to execute this command, and I have already installed my system, but when you will check, it will install your system. So check which version is installed your system and this CLI. Wait. In application, when we want to create any project using Angular, so first what we have to do, using ng command new, here you can see the command how we can create a first project using Angular, how we can create any application, that is ng command new, and your application name or your project name you will mention here. So you can mention ng new, and I have created a new folder or application name, that is a my app, right? And if we will check in application, that in folder main, there is no any folder here, and when we will execute this command, after that it's asking, would you like to add Angular routing? Routing means it's when we click on any navigation, so it will redirect to another page. So yes, we want to use it. And which type of CSS we will use? ACSS. And when we execute this, it will create a folder with all packages and libraries on your system, right? So where it will create my app, so it's creating an application here. So we have to wait for some time as it's installing the packages, libraries, and everything which need to execute a Angular application. Now you can check. In last, we received a message successfully initiated Git and successfully installed everything here. Now we will check the folder using this command. Which command we have executed? We have executed ng new, and that is the application name. Ng generate, that is a new generate new, and that is a my app is application name. You can say it's a website name, you can say it's a folder name. So my app is created here, and you can check a lot of folders are created here. In node modules, first is a node modules. Yeah, there are a lot of modules and packages here. SRC is a main file, main folder, where you can check your any file applications or like any files you want to create it. So by default in application folder, we will work with the any HTML or any CSS or any we want to write any code. So we will go in the source and app folder, right? Now, how we can execute? First, we check how we can execute this. We will use ng serve open. Using this command ng serve, if we want to check any output, if we want to see that application is running or not, so we have to open the server. So how we can open the server? Using ng serve. Serve will use to open the start the server, and hyphen open means automatically you need to you do not need open any browser to open the command that I have written ng serve open. Now, if we will get this type of, we will execute this command ng serve, where we will execute because we need to check the path. It's a main, so we have to go in cd my app because we have application name my app. In my app, we will execute this command ng serve and open, right? Again, it's asking for routing. You can set yes. Now it will open your browser and execute your application on your browser automatically. Compiled successfully. Now you can check server name, that is a local host. Local host is a server name. 4200 is a default port number for Angular. So you can check my application is running on my system and we have not written here local host and port number. It automatically execute, and how it will open your browser using open command. That is an ng serve will start your server and open will execute your browser and it will open your application. So we can check. This is a home page window, right? So we can, if it's executing successfully, then Angular is running successful. Now, how we can create and how it will work, how we can change content, how we can write our content code here. So let's see what we have to do. In my application folder, by default is install some files here. That is the app.component, app.component.css file, specification, component module, routing module. So what are these files? So Angular in 9.12 latest version, first thing it follows, that is Angular is based on the components. First we have to learn about the components. Using these components, we can divide our application in different windows and different sections. Like in HTML, we work with the div, right? Suppose we have any website, we can take any website example. Okay, so we take an example of any website like as a SEB is Skilling India and SF is Finishing School. So in website, we want to create this type of the website using main stack or like Angular. Angular is a front end framework. So front end, we can just design the template, how it will show to the user and how we can define the layout structure, right? So in this website, we see that is a first is a top header section. After that, it is a banner section, and this is a different like as a content for the courses section. There is divided in different section. It's a like a registration section. So this website layout is divided in different containers or different sections. So Angular also work with the component. So what is a component first? Component is used to divide your web page. If you want your web application or website in different sections, so we use a component. When you will generate a component, it automatically creates some files. Which type of files? First, in component, first it will create a .ts file. It will create .html file. It will create .specification we need, and also it will create routing module.ts file. So what is the use of component file? In this TS file, we will write any code which we want to execute. Suppose I want to create this type of the layout. So this is the top section. So I will create a component as a top bar. I want to create a banner section here. I want to add a content in banner section, or that is a navigation section. So I will create a navigation component. In this component only, it show the content for the navigation, and it will write the code for navigation. If we want to use like as this section, that is a popular courses, so I will create a new component for popular courses. In popular courses component, it will create a for HTML file, it will create a CSS file, it will create a like is to write a logic here, right? So we can write everything and we can store everything in one component, right? So to divide your website layout in different sections, we use a component. So first we need to create a component. So that TS file, when we generate a component, we will it automatically create a TS file. In TS file, we will write your code, right? What we want to execute, we will write here. But will show the user in a user screen. What you want to show on the front end on website or web application, it will write here. And in specification, we is used for testing purpose. When we want in end of the website development or end of the web application, we want to testing the application or website, and we want to the bug, then we will it will execute a specification file. And in module.ts file, if we want to implement like as a advanced concept for lazy loading and a routing, then we can use this file. It's not a module, it's a routing.ts file. And also it will create a .css file. In css file, it will store that is a css styles for related your any component, right? So let's see how we can create a component. We will create a component using ng generate g c for component. We can also write that is generate component and component name, right? But in short, we will write ng generate c for component. And component, suppose I want to use a navigation. First, I want to create a layout for the website. So I want to create a navigation. So I can write that is a navigation. I will execute this command. Now we see how we'll create an layout, how we can create, how we can start. So where we have run the server, we cannot write any command here. So we need to create any terminal here. In my application, we will execute this command ngg for generate, c for component, create a component, and there is a navigation. And navigation, execute this command. Now we can see it created a different type of the files. Which type of file it's created in source folder app navigation, navigation.component.html file, component.specification.ts for testing, navigation.component.ts for logic. If you that you want to write a logic, and navigation.component.scss because it's where you can write any css here. So let's check here. In application, navigation folder is created here, and there are different type of files is created here: html, css, html, that is html which we want to show on your screen, and application.css file, that is if you want to write any css for this file, you can write here. If you want to write any testing code, you can write on this file. If you want to write any logic code, if you want to write any code for navigation, you can write in this file. Means code is divided in different files. We cannot write a complete code like we write in html. That is same file in html file we write for logic code, we write a css, and we write a html. No, in component it created different file for every code, right? So now how we can change and how we can execute. We will go in source folder. In source folder, first we see which file is using to show this content, which file is running here. We can see that here index.html. Index.html is showing on your front end here, like as my app is running resources, next steps, that is index. And index.html, that is a app root. Main is a concept. If you will, I will delete here. First, we will visit C. So first we'll visit index.html. In index.html, there is only this HTML, but here I have added a code. By default is added app root. If we write app root here, then it will show any output on your screen. If you will delete the code here, you cannot see any output on your screen. You cannot see any component running here, any HTML pages here. So we will not change anything in this file. Now, where is the code? Where is the code resources? Where is the code next step? Which file and generate something? We see, we will go in app folder. In app folder, default component is created. Default component, that is a app, right? App component. Now we have learned in component.html file is showing here. So we will check app component.html file. In app component.html file, we can see this content which showing on front end, like app is running, Angular app is running, resources app is running, means content is coming from this file, right? So we do not want to show this, so I can delete it. I have deleted everything. Now check on the front end. There is nothing on front end. Now what we want to show here, suppose I will write anything here for testing. I write here welcome and service You can check. Now, I have already told you that when we will write anything here, suppose I am writing here, finishing school, right? I have written the code here. Now we'll go on there. Server side, I'm not refreshing the page. I will not executing again it. I already started a server in different terminal. We can check this compiled successfully. So server is started automatically in one time, and it will refresh the content according to your code. When you will write a code here, you can see output automatically here, right? So it's showing welcome and service finishing school, right? So now how we can show our component here, how we can show on HTML here. So we have created a navigation here. So first we will go navigation.html file. So navigation is not working here. Suppose I want to show navigation file here. It's showing that app component.html. So I want to execute first navigation here. So what we have to do, as we have created on component, and how we can execute. So it's a navigation.component.html file. It's nothing showing, right? Now we will go that navigation.specification. It's for like a CSS file. If we want to write any CSS in TS file, we will check that is a specification TS file for testing purpose. And in navigation.ts file, where we will write your code. What is the important in TS file? This is important. That is a decorator component selector. Selector, template URL and style URL is important here, right? First is that selector. Selector is used to execute your component HTML file. So if we want to execute component.html file, we have to execute this selector, right? Template URL define that which type of the selector you are using, which type of the HTML file, which type of the template file you are using, that is navigation.component.html file, and which type of the CSS file you are using, that is a style URL navigation.component.scss file. So you can see these files here, right? So we will go in TS file. TS file, we will copy this code app navigation, which is used to execute your this component and execute your HTML file. Now where we have to write this app navigation, we will go in main parent component. In parent component, we will go in app component.html file, and we can write any CSS here, anything here. And in to call this, we will write app navigation and this start and close. We have to write here app navigation. Now it will show as navigation content on your front end side, right? So means if you want to show any component, I have a different type of component. Suppose I will generate a new component again, ng generate component. Register. It will create a register component. Ng generate. I want a login page, login component. So I will write a ng generate c login. It's a login component. Right? Now, if we want to execute all components, so we will write here like register, we will go register.ts file app register. So if we want to execute anywhere app register, so we will go in app component.html file, and we will call the register selector URL here. Now we have called navigations here. We will go navigation.html file, which is showing navigation works. What we want to show here, we will set any navigation HTML. Using Bootstrap or any libraries you can use here. Suppose I have a content for navigation. I will write this code in navigation.component.html file. Now we'll see again output. Let's see. So it's showing navigation component here. We do not need it, so we can delete it. If we do not require this, so we can delete it, right? And is showing the navigation part. If we want to use custom CSS, if we want to change the content color, we can change any CSS. We can use a CSS. Where we will write a CSS for this, we will go in navigation.css file. So we will in CSS file, we can write any code for CSS and it will implement on this file, right? So this is a simple first code. And now we will write here like not a page 3. It's a login and it's a register, and it's a like a about us, or you can write anything here. Now I have changed it and it is showing that register and login, but when we click on the register, it's showing nothing. When we click on the login, it's showing nothing because we have not linked any component here. So how we can link component here and how we can execute? So if we want to see that, if I click on the home, right, and it show only that is a home content. If I click on about us, will show that about us space content, component content. If we click on the register, that it show the register component, and login, then it show that is a login component. So that concept comes from the routing. It's a routing concept. Routing is used to set the navigation and load the page according to click your navigation part, right? So this is the component complete, right? In component, we have created different type of the component, and how we can call component if want to show any component, if want to execute any component. So how we can component call in main file, that is a parent file app component.html file. If we suppose we have a banner file and that is a we have any header section, suppose we have another component like as a footer. Suppose I have a different component, entry generate component like is a header. Let's create a footer component, and in footer we will write any HTML code. You can use any HTML or bootstrap code. In footer, we will go footer.html file and we will write any code here. There is no need to write HTML and body here, only we will write this code, right? So now we will see if on your application footer is not showing here. We want to show footer content here, footer component here. So what we have to do, we will go in footer.ts file. We will copy the selector name here, that is app footer, and where we want to show in front end, that is a app component.html file, and here we will call app footer. So it will load the footer component. Now you can check it loading the footer component, but we have to write any component within the section within navigation and footer, right? If we will not call here, so it will not showing on your front end. here, right? So means suppose we will write any section like I'm talking about this section. If we want to use any section that is a header section, after that we want to create a banner, and after that we want to create a popular courses. So we will create this type of the component here, and we will call all component step by step here in sequences. After navigation, we will call any banner component. After that, we will call any component that is related to banner section. And after that, in last, we will call the footer section. So all component will load in your app.component HTML file. After that, it will show your on application or website home screen, right? Now, how next is that its component is completed. Now what is a routing and how we can use a routing means routing is used where we can use means when we click on about us page. Now it's this website is created in different technologies. So you will create, let's say I will create a parent company, so it will load your page. It completely load your page, refresh your page, after that show your content. So that's a more specific reason website is not fast as rather than the like as a Angular. Now, when we click on the About Us using Angular, when we click on this navigation register, it will not reload your page, not refresh your page. It will directly, when click on the register, it load your content, right? So now how it will load your content after your click on the register and login. So that is what is the routing concept here, why routing is used. So we have to create a routing concept. In routing, we have a main file that is in parent component app routing.module.ts file. In here, we will define a routes. Route means used for navigation, to show your content according to your pages, right? So how we will create a routing here, but we have to define here. We'll go in parent app routing.module.ts file, and here this is a constant routes, right? In constant routes, we will define component here in routes. After that, it will load. So how it will define? First is that we will use right here. We will define any component name, which component you want to load. First parameter we will use here path. But path, what is that is a route name. Suppose I want to load login page, I want to load that is a register page. So I will write here, suppose I want to load register, right? It's a like a route name. Doesn't matter, we will write any that is R is a capital or small letter, nothing else, right? We have written a path name here, that is a register. Now what is how it will define that register will call on the which define as a register component. So it will define using like as a component. So next parameter is that component. Which type of component is used here? That will go in register file.ts, and here we can check what is your component name. Our component name is a register component. Copy this. You can also see that here, but properly check. If you want to check the name, you can go register component.ts file, and you can check here. That is, sorry, it's not a register component, it's a register component. And register component, you can check, that's your class register component. So it's your component name. We will copy this name and we'll go in app routing.module.ts file, right? So it define your register component. And when we click on register, means when we call this path name, this is a route name, then automatically it will load that is a register component, right? Now it's showing an error. What is the error? When we click here, it's showing that show code action something, means you have to import, right? You click on this icon and it says you if you want to call the register component. If you want to create a routing here, then first you need to import register component, right? So when you click on this icon, click on this, it will import automatically, right? So now register component route is created. I want to create a login also. So that is path. I have written here login, route name, and component is a login component, but need to check from login.ts file. Login ts file, this is a login component, right? And also it's saying import login component here, right? So we have imported and we have created. Now we'll go in main file, that is a navigation.ts file. In navigation.html file, now we want to click, right? Now how we can call, how we can set a linking in Angular. We will not use, suppose we are using href, right? So in href, I will, suppose I write a name here, my name is that login, right? And here is a name, that is a register. My route name is a register and login. But when we go on front end, there is a no need to refresh. Click on the register, and when we click on register, see properly. When I click on about us, it's showing nothing. When I click on home, it's showing nothing, because on home is showing that is simply hash, right? But when we click on register, it's showing register, and when we click on login, it's showing login. But see, when I click on register, it refreshing the page. When I click on the login, it refreshing the page. About us, it refreshing the page. Why is it refreshing? Because we are using href here. So we do not use href here. We will use router link here, right? So how we can call router? If you want to outer link is used in Angular. We will not href here. Right? That is a router link. You can use a router link and a router name, which you define app routing.module.ts file. So you can call that name here, and it will not load your and it will not refresh your page. So you can use simply that things here. Second, again, if you want to check routing, so what is a router link in Angular? Is a directive for navigating to a different route. Means if you want to navigate, if you want to click your navigation content like as a register and login, so it will load your register component, it will load your login component. How will load? After, when you will create a route there. If you will not create any route here, so you cannot load the routing any component. So here is an example router. Like in previous HTML we use href, but using Angular we will not use a href. Href is skipped with the router link, so we will use router link here. So we will delete href from here. We will here router link, and what are the router names? What we have defined in routing.module.ts file. For login, we have defined login, and for register, we have defined or declared that is a register, right? Now, after router link, we click on again application. There is a error. Where is the error? Navigation.component.ts file, that is a 516. What is the error in component.ts? But we have changed Okay.
मैम ए टैग को 2 बार क्लोज करा हुआ है ना.
Where? Okay, this is a error. There is a one more error, but we have used.
हमें रजिस्टर से पहले जो ए टैग है वो हटा दो.
Yeah. Wait. Right, it's a compiled successfully. Now we will write route name here, and it's a register route. It is a register. Now we'll check on about us register. It's not reloading your page. It will skip refreshing the page, reloading the page, and when you click on the login page, so just write anything here. In register.component.html, there is a nothing, but I write something here to show the content. In register component. Now see, when I click on register, then it's not showing any content. It is showing the that is a navigation or pages or component in your URL bar. But when we click on register, it's showing nothing. And when we click on the login, it's showing nothing. It's not loading anything here. So what we have to do, we have to go in app.component.html file. In app.component.html file, we need to copy first app register. We want to load it. But where we want to load it, where we want to use now. When we set a routing concept, then there is another method that is a router outlet. Router outlet, just wait. Okay, so what is a router outlet and why we use? If you will not use a router outlet, then it acts as a placeholder that Angular dynamically fills based on the current router state. Means if you have set any routers, if you set any navigation for in routing file, then first you have to call router outlet. If you will not call router outlet, then it will not load your routing component, right? So where we have to use here, we will use in like app component.html file, right? So we have to go in app component.html file and we'll set router outlet, right? Now you can see I click on website name, there is a nothing on home page. I click on home page, there is a nothing, there is a no component or routing here. When I click on about us, I have not defined or declared any route and component. But when I click on register, so I have set routing for this. I have created a component for register first, and after created a component, now I have created a component, but how we can link that component on navigation? So if we want to suppose see one thing, I'm not using app navigation, I'm not using app register here, like is register component, there is an app register selector name, so I'm not using in app navigation app component.html app register here. Why we are not using? What are the differences? Because which selector is used here, it will show default. There is a no need to click on it, and there is a no need to call this that component. So if we want show any component by default, that is on layout as a navigation is showing. So if we want to suppose any like as a slider or any different component like as a header section or like as a core section, then directly it shows on your layout. So we will call here app navigation. After app navigation, we will see like we have created a component for app header, app slider, app section, that is an app footer. So automatically load all the components on your home page, right? But if we have set any route like as a navigation, like as if we have set any register component, we want to show register component when we click on the register button, and when we click on the login, then it show the login content. So how it will work? We need to set first a routing. How we set routing? If we want to show any component on navigation or like as any click on the button, so first we need to set a routing. So what are the concept to set a routing? To set a routing, we will go in parent file, which is a parent section, that is a app is a parent folder for all component, right? So app is here, so we will go in routes, constant routes, and routes is a predefined. What we have to write here, we will write first, there are first we will use a two arguments here. First is that path means that is a route name, means how we can call that component, that is a register component, how we'll call using this name. And path login, how we can call login component using login word, right? So it's a route name. When we call, where we use, that is suppose I want to call it, that is a navigation.html file. Here we will write now in Angular how we can call, or how we can, that is set a navigation, how we can set a linking on any button or anything. So we will use a router link. We will not use a href here, right? So we'll write here router link. Router link is used to call your route name. And what is your route name? That is a register in approuting.module.ts file, and router link for login, that is a login, right? Now after that, what we need to do routing, we will go in app.component.html file, and app.component.html file, we will use just router outlet. Router outlet is used to load your routing component on anywhere in your web application or website where you want to load. If you will not use router outlet, then it will not load your component after click on the name, that is after click on the button, after click on your navigation, it will not show any content, it will not load your route, right? So it's important, if you want to show the content on component after click on the routes, then you need to show, that is a router outlet need to call. After router outlet, you can see the content on register component, you can see the component on login component. Is clear? If there is any doubt in component and routing concept, then please let me know. I can handle your queries.
जो राउटर आउटलेट है उसमें हमारा कंटेंट शो होएगा, मतलब जो हमने लिंक बनाया है राउटर लिंक।
राउटर का आउटलेट जो होता है बच्चे, वो अगर मैं इसको यूज नहीं करती हूँ, सो व्हाट विल हैपन, ये क्या करता है कि जो आपने यहाँ पे क्रिएट किया रजिस्टर, ये आपका मतलब यहाँ पे तो वो राउट का नेम उसे मिल रहा है रजिस्टर, बट इस राउट नेम के अकॉर्डिंग वो कंपोनेंट को लोड नहीं कर रहा है। तो ये हमारा राउट है, तो राउट के अकॉर्डिंग वो हमारे कंपोनेंट को लोड नहीं करता है। सो हमें ये राउटर आउटलेट डिफाइन करना पड़ता है, ये हमें यूज करना पड़ता है। कहाँ पे लोड करेगा, कहाँ पे शो करेगा, हमारा जितना भी कंटेंट है वो मेन ऐप कंपोनेंट डॉट एचटीएमएल फाइल, मतलब ये फ्रंट एंड जो आपका आ रहा है वो सारा ऐप डॉट कंपोनेंट, मतलब पेरेंट जो है कंपोनेंट का, पेरेंट जो फाइल है जहाँ से कंटेंट हमारा शो हो रहा है वो आपकी ऐप डॉट कंपोनेंट डॉट एचटीएमएल फाइल है। तो हम वहाँ पे कहाँ पे ये शो करवाना है, वहाँ पे हम ये राउटर आउटलेट को यूज कर लेते हैं. सो उसके अकॉर्डिंग ये कंटेंट. रेस्ट अदर आप इसमें फॉर्मेट यूज कर सकते हो. जरूरी नहीं है कि जैसे मैंने डायरेक्टली कॉल किया तो आप डायरेक्टली ही कॉल करो. राउटर आउटलेट से पहले कोई आप डिव स्टार्ट करना चाहते हो तो आप बूटस्ट्रैप से डिव स्टार्ट कर सकते हो. डिव क्लोज के अंदर, डिव के अंदर भी आप अलग से मतलब रजिस्टर कंपोनेंट एक पर्टिकुलर सेक्शन के बीच में आना चाहिए तो आप उसको किसी डिव के अंदर भी कॉल कर सकते हो. बट इफ यू वांट टू लोड योर कंटेंट फ्रॉम द राउटिंग से अगर आपको कंटेंट लोड करवाना है, कंपोनेंट लोड करवाना है तो राउटर आउटलेट आपको कॉल करना पड़ेगा. एक बार कॉल करोगे उसके बाद जितने भी आप राउटर सेट कर दोगे, जितने भी राउट्स के नेम सेट करोगे वो आपके ऑटोमेटिकली कॉल होते रहेंगे. राइट गाइस?
यस मैम.
एनी डाउट्स?
Thank you, Seema ma'am, for an insightful session on the latest technology for development of web-based applications. Yes, students, if you have any query, you can feel free to raise your hands. You can unmute yourself. Yes. Achha, you
मैम
can raise your hand.
एंगुलर व्यू और रिएक्ट में से हमें कौन सी सीखनी चाहिए?
Pardon?
एंगुलर, रिएक्ट और व्यू है ना फ्रेमवर्क जावास्क्रिप्ट के.
Angular, I let you know that what is the Angular view and that is a React. We are talking with that is a Monstack. In Angular, we have a one technology that is a mean stack, right? We have a one technology that is a Monstack, and in Monstack just we use a Angular as a front end, right? And in Monstack, React is a front end here, and in this technology, one is a more framework that is a Vue.js. So that is a Vue.js and that is a React.js for front end. AngularJS is a front end, right? Rest other that is a MongoDB. Same database is using Express framework. E is a Express framework. Express using and same technologies. N is a Node for. ओनली जस्ट इसमें क्या है आपका जो आपका फ्रंट एंड है वो चेंज होता है. एंगुलर चेंज होता है, रिएक्ट फ्रंट एंड चेंज हो जाता है. मॉन्स्टैक कहते हैं हम इसमें हमारा एंगुलर यूज नहीं होता तो इसको हम रिएक्ट जेएस कहते हैं. और इसमें आपका व्यू जेएस यूज होता है. सो इफ यू वांट टू वर्क विद द लेटेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी, आइदर यू कैन गो विद द मीन स्टैक, आइदर यू कैन गो विद द मॉन्स्टैक. Most of the popular is a mean and Monstack both. You can go anyone. That is, if you want to go with React.js, it's a good. If you want to go with the main stack, you also. If you work with the main stack, Monstack, you can work with any technologies like as a Vue.js, or there are a lot of frameworks are introducing nowadays. So you can work with anyone. Like as if you have a knowledge as a main stack, you can easily work with the React.js. But if you want to get a job and if you want to learn Angular and React means mean stack or merge stack, first focus on advanced JavaScript. अगर आपकी एडवांस जावास्क्रिप्ट में स्किल्स अच्छे हैं तो आपके लिए एंगुलर जेएस एंड रिएक्ट जेएस कुछ भी नहीं है, आप इजीली ग्रैब कर सकते हो. बट आपको एडवांस जावास्क्रिप्ट की नॉलेज नहीं है, आपको पहले HTML CSS भी सीखना है. बट HTML CSS बूटस्ट्रैप तो बेसिक है, बट एडवांस जावास्क्रिप्ट का नॉलेज नहीं है तो आपके लिए रिएक्ट और एंगुलर थोड़ा टफ हो सकता है, बिकॉज मोस्ट ऑफ द कंसेप्ट जो है ये बेस ही इसका एडवांस जावास्क्रिप्ट है.
एडवांस जावास्क्रिप्ट मतलब प्रोमिस वगैरह सीखने होंगे?
यस, लाइक इज आपका एडवांस जावास्क्रिप्ट में यूज होता है एरो फंक्शन. एरो फंक्शन पहले मतलब जो हमें अदर टेक्नोलॉजीज में रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं होती. उसके बाद आपका यस प्रोमिसेस होता है, अवेट होता है जो हमारा नोड.js में यूज होता है, और सिंक्रोनस होता है, एंड मोस्ट है ऊप्स कंसेप्ट. अब इसमें जो ऊप्स कंसेप्ट होता है सेम जो आपका जावास्क्रिप्ट एडवांस जावास्क्रिप्ट में ऊप्स का कंसेप्ट होता है. सो अगर आपको ऊप्स कंसेप्ट जावा में प्रोमिसेस, अवेट, असिंक्रोनस, एरो फंक्शन ये सब क्लियर है, एंड दैट इज अ टेम्पलेट स्ट्रिंग्स, बहुत और भी ऐसे कुछ टॉपिक्स हैं like is a template string. So अगर आपको ये कंसेप्ट आता है then you can easily work with the React.js. मतलब React.js में कुछ भी नहीं बचता अगर आपने एडवांस जावास्क्रिप्ट, क्योंकि इसमें से ये जो असिंक्रोनस, अवेट एंड प्रोमिसेस है वो आपका Express.js में जब हम अपना वेब एपीआई से डाटा गेट करते हैं सो हमें इनकी रिक्वायरमेंट होती है. मोस्टली जो काम होता है वो उसमें ट्राई एंड कैच इसी के थ्रू होता है. और जब हम लाइक एज React.js के साथ फ्रंट एंड के साथ काम करते हैं, सो दैट इज oops कंसेप्ट एंड टेम्पलेट स्ट्रिंग के बेस पे टोटल है। तो मीन्स आपका आधा जो काम है वो एंगुलर, रिएक्ट का और नोड का वो आपका एडवांस जावास्क्रिप्ट में कंप्लीट हो जाता है।
ओके मैम।
यस,
Any other query, बच्चे? You can ask your questions.
मैम एंगुलर ये जो फ्रेमवर्क है इनसे मतलब हम जैसे बूटस्ट्रैप में होता है कि हम कोई भी मतलब टेम्पलेट यूज करके हम बना सकते हैं, तो इनमें एंगुलर वगैरह में वैसा नहीं कर सकते हम?
like is we are using in navigation, I have used a navigation HTML file, so that is we can skip that things from here. But if you want to skip here, if you want to use directly, then we have to integrate bootstrap here. We want to install bootstrap with the Angular, so you can, there is a no need to call or write any CDN code like this. I let you know, install in Angular. So you need to, there are some commands, right? You have to execute ng, that is a npm install bootstrap, and simply you can write npm install bootstrap. It will install your latest version in the Angular. And after that, there are some concept in Angular JSON file. You have to mention bootstrap main.css file and import in directly style.css file. That is it will, when you will import this file in style.css file, it automatically implement on every component file where we will use a HTML or a bootstrap concept. There is a no need to write any CDN code, and there is a no need to write any like this concept here, right? If you have installed, if you have integrated any bootstrap or any designer like as Bulma CSS, any library you have included here, installed here, then there is a no need to call here, right? So it will automatically implemented here. You can directly implement classes, you can directly implement anything here related to your CSS. So first you need to integrate any CSS framework with any like as Angular or React.
Thank you, ma'am. I think all the queries have been answered by you. Yes, students, if you have any other doubt or query, you can please ask your questions.
Okay, student, that's all from my side. If you have any query, then you can share with me. After that, if you will have any query, you can share with your coordinator teachers, and you can ask to me, right? And in last, I let you know that that is, we are providing a various technologies training, like as we are providing AWS training, mean stack, merge stack, and in Python plus Django. So we are providing a training in advanced technologies, which will be beneficial for students. It's a different type of the package for according to technology and according to content. That is, if you want to go with the 3 month, if you want to go with the 6 month, you can grab any courses from us. And after that, that is like a completion of the course, we will provide a training, we will provide a placement in different companies. First, we have a company that is a NetSmart's own company, and most of the preference to go in on company that is in Gurgaon or Mohali or Chandigarh location, right? So we are working with, we have a lot of demands in latest technologies, AWS, in merge stack, mean stack, and Python plus Django, also in digital marketing, who cannot work with the coding, so they can go in digital marketing, right? And if you want to contact that, you can contact this number if you have any query, if you related any courses, if you want to learn online any, if you want to purchase any course online, then you can contact with Sandeep sir, and these are the website links you can contact on this, right guys?